day, learners! Welcome to our new episode of Creative Learning. We are the Group 4 and we will discuss a new topic for today. Are you ready to learn? Here are our learning objectives. At the end of the lesson, you are expected to identify the different forms of media, discuss the functions of visual and audio media in learning, create an audio media useful in learning and teaching field. Before we will discuss our topic for today, we will have a short activity. Let's try this. This activity is Name Me. Identify the different pictures that I will be showing and take down the name of it. Good job! Seems that you named all of it. Do you know that these are the different forms of media? So let's try to figure it out. So our topic for today is all about enhancing learning with various forms of media, which are the visual and audio. Media are generally defined as the means by which information is being conveyed from one place to another, and visual is the conveyance of ideas and information in forms that can be read or looked upon.
So, visual media are sources of information in the form of visual representations, and this can be abstractions, analogs, rough illustrations, or digital reproduction of the objects.
So let's now talk the different forms of visual media, the non-projected visuals and projected visuals. Non-projected visuals has two types, the two-dimensional objects and the three-dimensional objects. Non-projected visuals are those media which are used without any projection, so they translate abstract ideas to realistic form. And in non-projected visuals, we have the two-dimensional objects.
The materials are viewed in flat surface, in width and in length, which are lacking in depth or volume.
Example, textual representation. This refers to data that is presented in written or in paragraph form. Next, we have photographs or pictures.
Photographic representations of people, places, and things.
Another one is flashcards.
Are small cards with picture or symbol that are commonly used in teaching.
Then we have graphs.
A diagram that represents the relationship between two or more points, lines, segments, and curves.
Another one is chart.
A diagram, picture, or graph which is intended to make information easier to understand.
Then we have diagram.
A graphic design that explains rather than represents.
A graphic organizers.
These are visual displays of key content information designed to benefit learners who have difficulty organizing information.
Drawings.
It employs the graphic arrangement of lines to represent persons, places, things, and concepts.
We have also sketch.
A rough drawing representing the chief features of an object or scene and often made as a preliminary study.
Another one is cartoon.
A humorous drawing or series of drawings in a newspaper or magazine, and it makes an integral part of the newspaper conveying a message or expressing public opinion.
Then we have a comic strip.
A series of drawings that tell a story, especially in a newspaper or magazine.
A poster.
It is any piece of printed paper designed to be attached to a wall or vertical surface. Posters are designed to be both eye-catching and convey information.
Next is wall chart.
A type of large poster often displaying information for educational use or entertainment.
Then we have a map.
A visual representation of an area, a symbolic depiction highlighting relationships between elements of that space, such as objects, regions, and themes.
And infographic.
A visual representation of information or data. It represents a collection of imagery, charts, and minimal text that gives an easy-to-understand overview of a topic and quickly and clearly present an information.
Oh, hi everyone, my name is Lady Joy Tayal and I'll be discussing about the types of non-projected or the three-dimensional visual media.
And about the three-dimensional objects, it refers to the realistic visuals because either they show the actual objects under study or they are objects that can be viewed and handled in a learning setting. They represent solid objects that can be measured in length, width, and height, giving the illusions of depth or varying distances. These materials come in the form of contrived experiences which are edited versions of what is real. And three-dimensional objects, it is edited or the copies of reality and are used as substitutes for real things when it is not practical or not possible to bring the real thing in the classroom. And all the objects around us, the ones we can pick up, touch, and move around, are three-dimensional objects. And so here we are, let's discussing about the types of non-projected or the three-dimensional visual media, which are the models, globe, diorama, relia are the real objects, specimen are the sample, pop-ups, and the mock-ups. So first types of non-projected or the three-dimensional visual media is the models. Models a recognizable 3D representation of a real thing or object. It is a scaled representation which may be equal to, smaller or bigger than the actual size of the original objects, which means our replicas of real objects show the totality of a thing or process. And it is a three-dimensional representation of a real thing. It can be larger or smaller than the size as the object it represents. It can be completed or simplified in detail for instructional purposes. So the models can provide various experiences that real things cannot provide. An example of a model is a model car system. The solar system, and for example in our classroom, the teacher will representing something or
Whether
object.
kana iyahang gi-tackle or gina-discuss na topic is about sa solar system. So, gabring siya o kanaang isa ka butang which is the solar system. Mo na yung gigamit to show to their students kay aron sab dali masabtan or dali ma-absorb sa learnings ay sa students ang learning kay tungod sila mismo nakakita sa itsura sa ato ang solar system, the color and the shapes of our planets, and etc. And then we have here the 4 classifications of models, which is the solid models, cross-section models, construction models, and the working models. So, ang solid models are usually used for recognizing external features as in the case of gloves and puppets. And then it contains information about the edges, faces, and the interior of the part. And solid models is the ultimate way to represent general objects, which are physical solid objects. It provides surface representation to the wire three-dimensional views of geometric model makes the objects appear solid on the computer screen, and that is called solid model. So, example ani isang vault or kanang heart. So, ang kaning klasihan nga solid models is kanang makita nato ang the outer parts or the features of an objects. And sa cross-section models shows the internal structure such as that of a tree that shows the pith and other external parts. So it means kanang gipakita or gina-show ang internal structure or features such as kanang sa center gud sa kanang tree good, which is kanang, pero ang tree is kanang ano na siya, kanang na palilaslice siya katunga, then makita nimo dito ang other parts sa tree na siya kanang ano, the heartwood, the cambium, the pith, which is makita nato ang pith in the center of a tree. And the third classification of models is the construction models. Can be assembled and disassembled and show the relationships of parts to the whole. So, ang example ani is kana ang tall ship model, which is pwede nimo siya ma-disassemble and also ma-assemble mo siya balik. Kaya kani nga tall ship model is made by wood. And the working models such as machines which indicate how an object represented operates. So, working models, it enhances system thinking abilities or gina-point out niya kung paano mag-function ng isa ka butang or isa ka machine or an actual or process machine that can do on a small scale the work which the machine itself does or it is expected to do. And for example, if for example sa senior high is kanang tailoring imuhang course, diba? So ang teacher nimo gina-assess ka kung paano i-operates ang kanaang sewing machine for you to know kung paano i-operates ang isa ka machine or butang. So let's proceed to the second types of non-projectile, which is the globe. Globe is the most widely used model, very useful in developing concepts relating to the Earth's shape, the Earth's relationship with other bodies in space, the comparative sizes of nations and continents, of longitudes and latitudes, of time relation and distance. And when it comes in teaching learning materials, it refers to the materials which are used by the teachers to facilitate concrete and productive learning. It will also make the classroom more lively and comprehensive to all the learners. And globe is the example of common teaching learning materials, which is gina-represent niya ang three-dimensional of the Earth's surface. And as I have experiences before during my elementary days, so mo ang teacher mao niyang ginagamit nga visual kaning globe, which is ginatudlo niya kung pila ka continents ang naata sa planet Earth, kung asa ta nabilong nga kontinente, gitudlo pa niya ang mga longitudes, latitudes and time relation and distance sa Earth from the sun and to the other planets and the universe. And the third types of non-projectile visual media is the diorama. Diorama and miniature 3D foreground and a flat background intended to represent a real-life scene. So, kani siya is ang na-experience na mo dati during our senior high school days, which is among teacher naghatag siya project, tas nagbuhat may og ang diorama, pero ang among gigamit ato dati is lang siya nga illustration 1/8 ata or 1/4 nga illustration board. So, and sa katong 1/8 ba to or 1/4 nga illustration board, dito na mo gibuhatan or gibuong isa ka mini park. So, just like ani nga picture, o diba, all we know naman nga miniature dito siya. And the fourth types of non-projectile visual media is the relia or the real objects, which is actual or real objects from their normal setting are taken to the classroom for study and analysis. The relia or the real objects, it's real such as coins, plants and animals that are more accessible for educational use. And these objects are instructional aids most closely associated with Dale's cone of experiences. Real objects are very ideal for the students to learn new objects or things, or any objects that we use to relate classroom teaching to the real life, especially of people studied. Example ani is ang atong ginagamit sa classroom, or the desk or the chair. And the fifth types of non-projected is the specimen or the sample. It is the fragments of original objects, which is the plants, animals, or parts of thereof preserved for convenient inspection, or it is the sample of the real objects or a materials. And sa pop-ups na naman tayo. Pop-ups, books that contains one or more pages such that a three-dimensional structure rises when a page is open, just like for example kanang isa ka books, then pag open mo sa book which is kanang naay isa ka struktura, like for example mabuong isa ka animals, plants, or other organisms. And ako example ani. So in ani ang forma or hulagway sa pop-ups nga three-dimensional visual media. And sa mock-up naman, it is intended to show the essential parts which are made detachable to focus on a specific parts of the whole objects. And for example is kanang naa kay products. So it is important for you to understanding and visualizing how your ideas will print, and it will help your client or customer understand what's the final products will look alike. And it's just a representation for your products. Dili ni siya kanang na jud siya kanang final nga itsura sa inyong nga products. And that is the mock-up. The non-projected visuals, whether in two-dimensional or the three-dimensional formats, can be collectively viewed in a exhibit or in the museum. So, ang non-projected visuals daw is kanang whether two-dimensional man siya or three-dimensional, pwede nimo siya makita sa exhibit or in the museum. And ang non-projected media is a means that can help teachers transfer their knowledge to their students. There are many kinds of media. It must be dependent on some criteria such as audiences or the learners, materials, school equipment, time allocated. So, therefore, you as a teacher have to know exactly what your students needs so you can make them better and be in success. And that's all. Thank you.
Hi everyone, good day. So the topic that I'm going to discuss was all about projected visuals. So when you heard the word projected, what comes into your mind? Any idea? Oh, let me continue. Projected visuals are defined as media formats in which still pictures are enlarged and displayed on a screen by use of a certain type of machine such as film strip, projector, slide projector, overhead, and etc. When the teachers provide visuals such as photographs, drawing, charts, graphs, and posters, she needs a way to show them. So, from the word displayed on a screen. So, sabotable na jud kay siya para mas masabtan sa mga estudyante or sa mga tao ang imong ginayaw or ginadiscuss sa atubangan kanang makita or ma-display jud sa screen para masundan nila kung unsa ang imuhang ginadiscuss or ginahimo. Like for example, sa film strip. So, kinahanglan jud makita sa mga tao ang ilang ginakuan nga film para mas masabtan nila kung unsa ang ilahang ginatan-aw and makarelate sila. So, visuals may be displayed in a constructing elaborate exhibits for permanent display. Classroom surface commonly used for displays of visuals include whiteboards, bulletin boards, cloth boards, magnetic boards, and flip chart. So, makuha na jud nimo siya nga kinahanglan jud siya makita kanang makita siya sa mga tao. So, it is used also to help teachers simplify, clarify, analyze, and synthesize the relationship between man and his environment. So, projected visual has also characteristics. So the first one is it is easy to operate. Well, of course, dali ra jud siya i-operate. Inigsaksak nimo sa laptop, tas i-connect nimo siya sa projector, dali ra jud kay siya. Tas daghan pa jud ang makakita. So the next one is it can be used even in a dark place. Well, makita gid siya sa kanang mga ngit-ngit kay hayag man ang projector, di makita jud siya bisan pag-asa ka or sa layo ka. So the next one is it can be shared by a large group of people than non-projected media. Well, of course, makita jud siya sa kadaghanan. Pareha sa kuan, kanang magtanaw ka og sine. Di ba, makita jud siya sa mga tao bisan pag ngit-ngit ang palibot. Di pareha nang mag-traditional ka, nang pareha nang magsulat ka sa Manila paper. Dili jud siya makita sa layo, especially na kung ngit-ngit. So, the last one is the way of teaching is more effective and efficient. So, the last one is the way of teaching is more effective and efficient than with the use of traditional resources. Well, of course, mas makasabot jud ang mga estudyante kung ang gamit sa teacher is projected visuals. Kay ngano, kay makasunod man ang mga estudyante kung unsa ang ginadiscuss sa teacher kay gipakita man through screen, especially nga dako ang screen tapos klaro jud kaayo siya. Not like sa visuals na uban nga kanang ang uban reporter kanang dili klaro ang sinulatan ngin ana, dili klaro ang ilahang mga handwritten. So mas maasabtan and mas dali makasabot ang mga bata pag projected visuals ang mga ginagamit.
Good day everyone, I am Michelle IDB Kenyate and I will be discussing about learning with audio media. So, when we talk about audio, it is all about the sounds, like how we, like yung mga naririnig natin, like sa Facebook or any other social media platforms. So, paano natin ito paano ito nakakatulong when it comes to education? So, there are a lot of ways of learning styles, di ba? Yung mga students and even sa teachers, or let me just, there are a lot of learning styles yung mga tao. Some prefer yung mga nakikita lang nila, like sa visuals. And others naman is nakaka-learn through listening. So there are a lot of forms of audio media. So first, we'll be discussing about radio program. So noong unang panahon daw, the Japanese used radio to teach Filipinos the Japanese language during World War II. So, parang noong unang panahon, nauso din sa kanila yung distance learning, which means that nakaka-learn sila through the radio. Siguro nagbibigay lang ng informations yung speaker, and then the listener, and then yung mga tao is nakikinig lang doon sa radio. So, there are two types of learning enhancement, the instructional and educational. So when we say instructional broadcasting, their target people are mostly elderly. Kasi dito, parang more on informations about certain craft or trade. So mostly, ang nakaka-relate lang dito is yung adults. At yung isa naman is educational broadcasting. And from the word educational, so it means na yung target market, parang target nila na listener is yung mga bata. It's about the serves to enrich classroom learning. It features programs which aim to reinforce lesson learning in school and are usually entertaining as well as educational. So it is not just some boring type of lesson, no, like the teacher is just speaking in the speaker is just speaking, but it is also entertaining as well for the listener to para mas makinig pa sila lalo kasi no one would listen to someone na boring salita or what, walang kabuhay-buhay yung lesson. Now let's talk about audio tapes, compact disc, and audio recordings or clips. First is audio tape. It is a storage that can be used to store a recording. It records and plays back sounds. So you can just it anytime you want. You can play it anytime. So what is a recorder? It is any electronic device that can be used in order to make a permanent record of audio informations such as tape recorder, optical disc, or phonograph. So as long as dito masisira, then makikip mo pa yung mga informations or yung recordings na ni-record mo. So recorder is the device na ginamit para mag-record ng sound. So it can be an information or a topic, or it could be also music. When we talk about recording naman, it is the process. Like yung pag-transfer ng sound through pag-transfer na yung sinabi mo through the device, which is the recorder. So, maraming paraan maraming devices na pwede mong gamitin para makapag-record ng sound. Like like cassette tapes, open reel tape, gramophone record, and compact disc. So, ano itong compact disc? It is, I know na you are all familiar with this kasi noong unang panahon na hindi pa uso yung hindi pa gaano kalago yung technology, di ba? Meron yung disc na may yung nilalagay natin sa DVD para makapanood ng cartoons or movies, and even makinig even through listening to some music. Yun yung compact disc. So it is a way of parang storage din siya, isa sa mga storage na pwedeng lagyan ng music or movies. Now let's move on to audio clips and record dubbing. Audio clips stores the audio file either compressed or uncompressed. Have you tried recording yourself in your phone? Di ba may mga di ba may recorder na app something sa phone nyo? And when you try to record, may mga yung mga like guhit-guhit, yun yung audio clip. So when we talk about dubbing naman, it is the transfer or copying of previously recorded audio material from one medium to another, or of the same or different type. So its purpose is if ever na may lumang silang nakitang parang recorder or something, it is done to make another copy out of that thing, to preserve the audio or to save some informations about the previous thing. Let's move on to audio equipment. Is any device designed principally to reproduce, record, or process sound. So marami tayong alam na mga recording device, right? Or mga device that can help para ma-enhance yung sound or it's just a thing na can para makalisten tayo sa something na makalisten tayo. First is radio. Radio. Dito tayo madalas yung mga lola natin ang madalas mahilig sa radio kasi nakikinig sila ng balita dito or any other informations. Next is record player, a device used to play recorded sounds. They are suited for both musical and spoken recordings. So when we say recorder, it is not just all about like what I'm doing now, recording some video to share some information about my topic. So it is not all about that. It is also about like recording some music to listen for future purposes, or kung gusto mo na pakinggan ulit yung music, then you can just listen to it because you have the recording. Next is cassette tapes. Cassette tape. So, ang itsura nito is parang yung a small device for playing back or recording magnetic tapes. An important use of tape player is the recording of a certain produced sound. So, parang siyang, ito ata yung parang box na tape na nilalagay sa recorder para makinig ng kung anong laman nitong cassette tape. Next is radio receiver is parang siya yung reason kung bakit napapakinggan natin yung mga sound that coming out from a radio. Next is microphone. Alam ko na alam niyo ng lahat kung ano yung microphone. It can change the speaker's voice or it can kanang alter good parang it can be nalalakasan at nati-change into something kung ano yung i-set up sa system, something like that. Next is loudspeaker or speaker. So its purpose is para palakasin yung yung sound, parang microphone lang din but it's different kasi yung speaker is an electromechanical transducer that converts an electrical signal to sound. Next is compact disc player or CD. It is also known as CD player. It's an electronic device that plays audio compact disc. I have seen a lot of this CD kasi nung bata pa ako, ang hilig magpa-music ng mga tao dito sa bahay gamit ito. Tsaka nilalagay lang sa DVD and it can play some music na nandun sa CD. Next is amplifier, an electronic device for increasing the amplitude or of electrical signals such as voltage, current, or power used chiefly in sound reproduction. So itong amplifier naman, parang ito yung parang nagko-control sa kung gaano ba kalakas or kahina yung audio. Next is iPod. Was meant as a multimedia device for the masses. Meron ba sa inyo na nagkaroon ng iPod? It is parang siyang cellphone but the main purpose of it is to just to play murag intended siya to play some music. So more on talaga siya. Yung mga buttons niya is for forward, backward, and stop, play, mga something ganon. So parang for music lang talaga siya. That would be all. Thank you.
The advantages of seeing museums is that the students can see the actual objects and artifacts because if they experience seeing it and encountered it personally, it is easy to them to visualize the things that we want to know. And the field trip experience will added already in their knowledge on what they've encountered or experienced by their trip. Because many of us will much better if we see the actual objects or actual things that we want it to be or to know. Because there are some students have their different level of curiosity. There are some that they want to see it personally because that is the way on how they absorb their learning. The disadvantage of seeing museum is that the museum is quite expensive. Gaya natin dito sa Glan. Meron tayong museum dito pero hindi lahat ng gusto natin ay makikita. We only have paintings, sculptures, and mini statues na ginagawa ng Glannians. And we don't have a lot of more things or objects that are what we want to know. And the disadvantage also is that a big responsibility for the teachers to keep his or her eyes on the students. Because there are some students that will eaten their curiosity. Gusto nila hawakan ang lahat ng gusto nilang makita dahil dito sila natututo sa mga bagay-bagay na gusto nilang malaman. The disadvantage also is the objects are not allowed to be touched. Dahil iniingat-ingatan ito ng taga-museum na bawal hawakan to preserve the beauty and the quality of the arts. Dahil Ilan sa mga ito ay galing pa sa malayong lugar at matagal na panahon para ma-preserve ang kagandahan nito para makita pa rin ng paparating na generasyon. The advantages of visual aids. It added impact and interest to our presentation. It is more presentable, especially of the visual aids that well prepared, colorful, and full detail. Dahil dito nakikita ang kahandaan ng presentation. Dahil sa visual aids pa lang, kita-kita na lahat, nakalagay na lahat ng gusto nilang sabihin at malalaman na kung ng mga listener kung ano dapat ang malalaman nila. And it helps emphasize the point. Dito makikita at nasabi lahat kung ano ang direct point ng presentation. Visual aids can quickly and efficiently demonstrate ideas that are difficult to explain verbally. At dito rin sa visual aid na makikita ang absences na hindi masabi-sabi ni presenter sa kanyang mga listener. Hindi niya verbally masasabi lahat dahil may instances na nahihirapan sila dito, kaya dito makikita sa lahat sa visual aid, lalong-lalo na kapag full detail. And the disadvantages of visual aids is presenter may depend on them to teach a subject. Ang naka-disadvantage lang dito sa visual aids is there are some, not all, presenter may depend their discussion to the visual aids. Sinasabi na nila lahat dito sa visual aids ang gusto nilang sabihin dahil nahihiya or nahihirapan sila. They will depend the visual aids already. Too much ideas in the image will confuse and disrupted the main idea. Dahil may ibang visual aids na maraming pictures, maraming nakalagay, halos lahat inilagay na. Hindi na kailangan pang sabihin ng presenter dahil nilagay na niya na lahat. Alam na ng mga listener na kung ano ang malalaman nila dahil nakalagay na dito. Bali, ang gawin na lang ni presenter is mag-review dahil nandito na lahat sa visual aids. Using same form of visual aids may decrease its effectiveness. O dito sinasabi na rin na mawawala ng saysay ang sinasabi ni presenter dahil yun na nga nakatap na lahat sa visual aids. And time consuming in preparation. Lalo na kapag binigyan ka lang ng isang araw para i-present ito at gumagawa ka pa ng visual aids na sana ang i-prepare mo na lang ay yung sasabihin mo kinuha na lahat sa paggawa ng visual aids. Dahil visual aids is a time consuming, dapat creative ka nito dahil mawawala ng saysay kapag ang visual aids mo ay marumi at hindi nakabagay ang napili mong color sa mga visual aids.
So you already learned the different forms of audio and visual media. Is it clear, class? Again, we are the Group 4 and next episode, we will tackle more about the different forms of media. See you next episode. Bye!